I still remember the look on Winston's face the night it all shifted. That mix of anger and something softer, something that scared me more than his words ever could. It happened when the lights went out in our shared dorm, and silence swallowed the space between us. For years, he'd made sure I knew he couldn't stand me. But that night, his voice trembled when he said my name. Maybe it was the dark. Maybe it was the way I finally looked back at him. Either way, nothing about us stayed the same after that. The first day I moved into the dorm, I didn't know he'd be my roommate. The name on the door said W. Harris. And I didn't think much of it until the door swung open and there he was. Winston. Same sharp eyes. Same smirk I remember from high school. The one that had made my stomach twist for reasons I never wanted to unpack. I almost turned around and left, but his voice stopped me, low, edged with disbelief. You've got to be kidding me. He was taller now, broader too, but still carried that same energy, part arrogance, part wounded pride. He leaned against the wall like he owned the room, watching me struggle with my suitcase. Guess fate's got a sense of humor. I muttered. He didn't laugh. Just gave me that long, unreadable stare that made the air feel heavier than it should have been. I didn't realize it then, but that silence between us would start meaning more than any insult ever had. The first week was a test of endurance. We split the room in half. Literally. He taped a line across the floor. I rolled my eyes and told him it was childish. He told me to stay on my side. But at night, when he thought I was asleep, I'd hear him sigh, that quiet, restless kind of sound people make when they're fighting something inside themselves. It almost made me feel sorry for him. Almost. Until the night I caught him staring. And for a second, he didn't look like the guy who hated me at all. It was past midnight. The rain was tapping against the window, and I was half asleep, reading on my bed. When I looked up, Winston was sitting at his desk, light from his laptop glowing on his face. He wasn't working. He was just looking at me. His eyes darted away when I met them, and he shut his laptop fast, pretending to stretch. Could you not stare at me while I sleep? I teased, half joking, half testing him. He didn't answer right away. Then, softly, maybe you shouldn't fall asleep looking like that. His words weren't cruel this time. They were something else entirely. After that, everything changed in small, invisible ways. He started holding the door open when we walked to class. He made coffee in the mornings and always poured an extra cup without asking if I wanted it. I pretended not to notice, but I did, every little thing. And one evening, when a thunderstorm rolled in and the campus lost power, we were trapped in the dark, together. That was the moment everything between us cracked open. He was pacing, restless, annoyed that his laptop had died. I told him he could sit down, maybe talk to me for once instead of glowering from across the room. He shot me a glare, but then he actually did sit down right next to my bed. Don't make it weird, he said. It's already weird, I replied, and then he laughed. Actually laughed this quiet, nervous sound that made my chest ache. For the first time in years, Winston didn't sound like my enemy. He sounded like someone I might have loved if we'd met differently. The storm outside grew louder, flashes of lightning cutting across the walls. He told me he used to envy me, that I always seemed put together. I told him he was wrong, that I used to hate him because he made me feel invisible. We sat there in the dark, words tumbling out like secrets we'd both been waiting too long to say. Then, when the thunder rolled, he whispered my name like he was afraid of it. And for a second, just a second, I forgot all the years of silence and sarcasm. It was just the two of us. The storm, the sound of his breath too close. That was the night everything began to shift. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop remembering the look in his eyes when the lights finally came back on. When the power flickered back on, the light cut to the room like a confession. Winston was still sitting close, his hand resting on the edge of my blanket. For a heartbeat, neither of us moved. His eyes found mine, no anger, no armor, just a quiet kind of confusion that mirrored my own. The silence between us wasn't empty anymore. It felt charged, fragile, alive. He cleared his throat and looked away. Guess the storm's over, he muttered. But I could still hear it. Thunder rolling far away, soft now, like a memory that didn't know how to fade. I wanted to tell him that something else had changed, that maybe the storm had only moved inside us. We didn't talk for the rest of the night. He climbed into his bed, headphones on, pretending to scroll through his phone. But every few minutes, I'd catch him glancing at me, like he was making sure I was still there. It's strange how you can spend years hating someone, and then lose sleep just because you can't stop thinking about them. The next morning, the world looked washed clean. Rainwater glittered on the window pane, and the air smelled new. I woke to find Winston standing by the window, hair messy, hoodie hanging loose on his shoulders. He turned when he noticed me watching. "You snore," he said, smirking. "You talk in your sleep." I shot back. He froze, color rising in his cheeks. "What did I say?" "You said my name." I expected him to deny it, but he didn't. He just rubbed the back of his neck and muttered, "Figures." That single word carried everything. The frustration, the surrender, the part of him that didn't want to keep pretending. For the rest of the week, something fragile bloomed between us. We cooked ramen together, studied side by side, even walked across campus without a word of sarcasm. Every small kindness felt like an apology neither of us could say out loud. It wasn't love yet, but it was the first time I stopped expecting him to hurt me. One night, finals were closing in and exhaustion hit us both. I was half asleep at my desk when Winston spoke quietly. "I used to think you had it easy. Everyone liked you. Teachers trusted you. Meanwhile, I was just loud." I turned to face him. "You weren't loud, Winston. You were trying to be heard." He looked at me for a long moment, eyes shining in the desk lamplight. Then he whispered, "You really see people, don't you?" And in that instant, I realized I'd never seen him this unguarded before. He sat beside me, elbows on his knees. "You know what's funny?" he said. "I spent years trying to prove I was better than you, and I didn't even know what I was competing for." "What were you competing for?" He smiled faintly. "Maybe your attention." The words landed softly, like the start of something honest. I felt a lump rise in my throat. "You had it. You just didn't notice." Sometimes the truth doesn't explode. It just settles quietly between two people who finally stop lying to themselves. We didn't move closer. We didn't have to. The air carried the warmth of everything unspoken, the kind that fills a room without touching a thing. He reached out, tracing the line of tape that still divided our floor. "Guess we don't need this anymore," he said, peeling it off slowly. It left a faint mark, a reminder of all the space we'd wasted keeping distance that wasn't real. I smiled. "Took you long enough." He looked at me, half smiling back. "Yeah, but I'm here now." And just like that, the boy who hated me first became the one I trusted most. That night, we talked until dawn about our fears, about how easy it is to mistake pride for protection. We didn't make promises or confessions. We just listened. When the morning light spilled across his face, I thought, maybe this is how it starts. Not with fireworks, but with understanding. As he drifted off beside me on the couch, the storm outside finally broke into sunlight. I leaned back, heart steady for the first time in years, and whispered, "I didn't mean to fall for you, Winston, but I'm not sorry I did."